everyone, and welcome to BookTrib's 15 Minutes with a Merrill Moss Media production. Today we are thrilled to welcome New York Times and USA Today bestselling author Christine Rimmer. Christine is the author of more than 90 contemporary romance books for Harlequin, and there's no sign of her stopping, thank God. She's won the Romantic Times Book Review's Reviewer's Choice Award for Best Silhouette Special Edition. She's been nominated 5 times for the Romance Writers of America's prestigious RITA Award and also 5 times for the Romantic Times Series Storyteller of the Year. We want to welcome you, Christine. Thank you so much for being on with us. It's great to talk to you today.
Oh, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me, and happy holidays. Merry Christmas.
Absolutely. All festive and red, and
yes,
we're here to go for Christmas. Happy holidays, everyone. And so we are talking Christmas, that is for sure, because we are going to chat about A Bravo for Christmas, which is in the Bravos of Justice Creek series. What can you tell us about the book? Who are we meeting? Who's falling in love? All of that fun stuff.
Well, I've always loved those stories where there's like a ticking clock. It's
Yes.
only going to happen for this long. Married for a month, whatever.
Right.
And this is kind of the heroine has had a tragic loss of her husband, and she's not ready to love again, so she thinks.
Okay.
But it's been 7 years, and she really would like a man for Christmas, and somebody hot and temporary. And she wants it to be over and done by January 1.
Okay.
And Darius, she's known, the hero, Darius Bravo, she's known since high school. And he actually asked her out then, but he was a hot football player,
right.
And she was the poor girl, and she was not going there. She just felt like he would break her heart. He had a different girl every week. So anyway, they ended up not ever really connecting, but now they're both back in town. They both moved away, and they're both kind of flirting all the time. And finally, and he is helping her daughter, who's 7. She's a single mom, with the daughter's Blueberry Troop, with building dollhouses for disadvantaged and ill children. Okay. And he's wonderful. And so the heroine, Ava, is taken aback because she'd always kind of considered him hot player guy, but not a sweetheart, which
right.
he turns out to be. So anyway, once he's flirting with her, and all of a sudden she just turns around and says, "Great, I'll see you then. I'll be naked." And he's like, it's so shocking that she's finally responded. He doesn't know. But anyway, so they end up making an agreement for a Christmas fling. Okay. And of course, Darius turns out to be more than she bargained for. So.
Of course. Well, isn't that how we like it?
Yes.
So, as you mentioned, we of course know Darius, Ava, and her daughter. But is there anything that we're learning in this book, particularly about the characters, that we didn't already know, or anything that the fans might be surprised to learn?
Well, this is a 9-book series. Mm-hmm. There are 9 siblings. Well, they're actually siblings and half siblings. And the backstory is that the Bravo patriarch, who's now deceased, was with 2 women at once, his wife, and then the woman who became his second wife when his first wife died. And they were having children like simultaneously.
Of course.
So there are 9 of them. 4 from the first wife, 5 from the second, and they used to all hate each other, but they've all made peace now. So the next story will be Jody Bravo's story, and that would be Darius's half sister. Okay. And she's introduced, and her problem, her ongoing story issue, is introduced in this book. And we find out something about her. And I try to kind of give you a hint of what's coming next in the current book. Okay. So in Christmas, and then in May will be Jody's story, and it's all of them are connected. They're close with different ones in their family, like you are with siblings,
right? Of course.
And, they all have a ongoing close relationship now, and they all like go to Thanksgiving together. They have Christmas events together, and so we see them as they grow and change and find a life mate in the 9-book series.
Absolutely. And this particular one, A Bravo for Christmas, is actually your 6th Christmas book in this series, which bravo to you for coming up with a new Christmas story every year.
It's so funny. I told my editor I can't do it again. And then every year I go, oh, wait,
I'm going to need to. Yeah.
And next year there'll be, in fact, I'm writing the proposal for Nell Bravo's story, and it will be the Christmas story next year, the final Justice Creek story. And then I'm going into some ranchers in Oregon who are Bravos.
Oh, wow. Those Bravos just procreate, don't they?
Royals, the Bravo Royales. And I had 9 of those. So it kind of, the family's big and spread out all over the world, mostly in America. And I will take, several siblings. They're very prolific, these people. And so I'll have 9, 8, 6 siblings and do a whole series on them and then move somewhere else. So.
I love it. Well, what do you love about including the holidays in this series? What is it for you each year? Like you said, I had another story. What do you really love about doing the Christmas story?
I love all the different parties you can make up. I love the spiritual side of it a little bit, just the kind of feeling of family and love and hope and beginnings.
Absolutely.
I love I have decorations that I've been collecting since I was a broke actress when I was 20, and I made them all out of paper and I still have them. So I have those kind of Christmas traditions, I guess you could say. And family gatherings, I enjoy those. And I always find kind of a new way to fit them in. Or I'll think up the thing with the dollhouses for the Little Blueberry Troop was really a fun idea. And I had a great time inventing the troop, and the girls were so cute, so yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I think there's something too, maybe it's the commercialness of it all, but there's something really romantic about this time of year, I should say.
It is. It's glowy. Yeah. It's like the cover. What I love about
I love that. That's the perfect word.
It has that kind of anything could happen. There's so much potential and hope in the world, that kind of thing.
Absolutely.
That makes me feel good.
I love it. So what about this particular series? As you were saying, Bravo's all over. Can you maybe give a rundown a little bit of the different series within the Bravo family that you've done and how
I probably will leave someone out. I'm starting my 50th one.
Oh my goodness.
In January. So if I leave somebody out, I'm sorry, people. It started out, it was just going to be 3 books.
Okay.
And it was called Conveniently Yours.
You went a little past 3, just a smidge.
I went past 3. And they were 3 cousins in Wyoming. They owned a ranch together, the Rising Sun Ranch, and their stories. And they each had a marriage of convenience. Okay. And then Gail Chasen, my editor, said, well, you should write more of those. I was like, but I was only going to write 3. But the readers loved them. And, an idea came to me. So I did another one and then another one. And I had several that were kind of just separate. And then I came up with Blake Bravo, Bad Blake Bravo. And he was a serial marrier. He married women all over the country. So I would have like 3 brothers here, 2 sisters and a brother over here, and I did that for a while. And then I came up with the Texas Bravos, and there were 9 of them. And they were in the San Antonio and Hill Country.
Okay.
Area. And I did those. And then I thought, Royal Bravo.
I can do one better.
Did a reversal on Grace Kelly, and, where the Bravo was a man, came from America, and it was a princess.
Right.
And it was kind of a Monaco type of setting. And there were 9 of those. And then the last one, which was a Christmas book, a Bravo Christmas Wedding, the youngest of those siblings had cousins in Justice Creek.
Okay.
So she came to a wedding in Justice Creek, which did not come off as it turned out, but she fell in love there and stayed. And then we got introduced to all these Justice Creek Bravos. So that's where I am now.
Oh my goodness.
And there have been other little mini-series, but it would take forever.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, that's a little bit of a rundown for fans, or even sometimes when you read so much of an author and you get to the point today where you're at, where say 50 books into a series, you really are not totally remembering, like, hang on, how did this start out? So I think it's a nice refresher for sure.
Well, I do get a kick out of it because it will take me a minute sometimes. That's 50 couples. You think about it. And somebody will say, oh, I'm still in love with so-and-so. And I'll go, oh,
Which
really?
one were they?
And then I'll go, oh, okay, right, got it.
Yeah. You have to have that part of your brain like start sorting.
Yeah, engaged.
Yeah,
right.
absolutely. I love it. What about you? Do you have a favorite? I don't know how, but do you have a favorite one that you've maybe written, or how the story ended? Is there anything that maybe is a little close to your heart that you've written?
You know what's interesting is it seems like it's always the last one.
Yep.
I just finished actually a Montana Maverick that will be out in July,
Yes.
and it's a reality series.
Oh, fun.
The hero and the heroine are stars in this reality show. They're from this small town, Rust Creek Falls,
Okay.
in Montana. And I had so much fun with the whole idea of reality versus fantasy, because there's nothing so unreal as a reality show, really.
Of course.
You know, and they're wearing these microphones all the time, and there could be a camera anywhere. There's no privacy.
Right.
Just doing the love scene was quite experience, because I actually read in some books about how to be a reality star, how to hook up. When you're on
amazing.
TV. And it's like you get under the covers and you're very quiet. So anyway, I had a great time with it, because after 100, I've written 100 books now, and after 100, I'm like, did that and did that. But I've never
I would imagine.
You know, on a show when we're trying not to let anybody know what we're doing.
That's so great. What a fun story. Did you happen to watch the show Unreal? They are actually, it's a Lifetime show that's all about that. It's a show
really?
about the behind the scenes of a reality show. And it's
I've got to watch it. I have not watched it. I was watching
Check it
Married by Mom and Dad.
Oh,
Have
yeah.
you seen that?
I've heard of it. I just can't get into those.
I kind of like them. And I watched The Bachelor and The Bachelorette, the first seasons. And there was a Krista, or I don't know what her name was. There was a woman that was not chosen by The Bachelor, and she became The Bachelorette, and she fell in love with this lovely guy.
And they are still married with children. I would just like to point that out.
I believe it. I mean, it actually worked, because I would normally go, oh, no way.
And not for all of them, but for some, it absolutely does. But yeah, the Lifetime show, absolutely take a look. It's a scripted drama.
It's called Unreal?
It's called Unreal, yep. And it's a spin-off on The Bachelor and Bachelorette, but it's scripted. So it's a show about what happens behind the scenes of a reality show. So there's two shows happening at once on this show. There's what you're watching, and then what they're doing. It's pretty interesting.
Exactly. And that was what this book turned out to be.
Absolutely. That's why I thought it would be a good fit.
And they plot stuff to where they can have their private moments, you know, because the moments are given to the show, and they want some for themselves, you know, and how they get them. It just was fascinating, just in terms of reality and fantasy and what's real and what's not.
Yeah, how fun. That's fun, though. So with so many under your belt at this point, I would think for some it could be both a blessing and a curse. You know it has to be done. You're used to it. You're ready when you sit down. But then you sit down.
Fresh? Yeah. Right. And is it fresh? Is it? I really love to do the classic stories, the ones like Marriage of Convenience or Amnesia, you know. But it's still like, how is this different than every other amnesia story? You know, what makes this special? What makes these characters, why do we want to hear their story when we've already heard the Marriage of Convenience story before a lot? You know, so the challenge is delivering what the reader wants, but doing it in a way that surprises them and me.
Yeah.
And so that's where I get the joy. I've been writing special edition, I'm not going to say how long, a long time. And I still get that shiver when it all comes together, and I've got the classic thing that everybody wants to read.
Right.
But it still feels to me like you're not going to know what I'm going to do with this.
Right, absolutely.
You know, or what the characters are going to do from the readers.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. That's must be really fulfilling too, as an author, to really get to that point and know what that feeling is. It
is. I want it to be. My son, when he read the J.K. Rowling books, you know, the Harry Potter books, he was 10. He must have been 10. I said, well, what is it about J.K. Rowling? I'm jealous, you know. And he goes, she leaves out the boring parts.
Oh, that's funny.
And
that's hysterical.
That is my goal, to somehow give you all the information you need, but you're never feeling like,
Okay,
when is
next,
something,
yeah, absolutely.
when is something going to happen? Wake me up when it happens. But yeah, and you care too.
Absolutely.
It's not just all excitement, but who gives an arm,
Of course.
So anyway, that's the challenge and that's the fun. And I guess that's why I still love it, because I'm always trying to, even though my canvas is not huge, a special edition, a series book is a special thing. It's a jewel. It's not a big old tiara,
Gotcha.
And you want to just get that thing shining so bright.
Yep.
It's so right,
Absolutely.
So that's my challenge, and that's kind of my passion.
Okay. I love it. Now, what about, over the years, I would imagine you've seen the industry change. You've seen, things come and go. How have you adapted to that too?
Well, mostly the thing with series and the editorial in series has to do is you're trying to deliver a certain thing in each line.
Sure.
And so they are keeping us constrained in that. That's their job. But my job is to keep trying to push that open and still do that,
Absolutely.
And so that I'm constantly, when I started out, really, if the heroine wasn't a virgin, people were like, that's a little risque,
Right.
And I was raised in the 60s where if you were, everyone was surprised.
Right.
So I had to get used to that. And now, though, it's much more wide open.
Yes.
We try to work toward a more contemporary story, and people, It's no longer, in fact, there's one scene in the May book that's coming out, the one, Jodie Bravo's story, where the hero is staying with her to help her with the baby. She's had a baby. And he's like, are you upset because people might be talking? And she looks at him and she goes, who even thinks like that anymore? He's kind of a staid guy. And that is fun now. It's fun for me to try to push that boundary, but still keep my readers who might have a more traditional viewpoint, and be respectful of that, but still try to make these characters more really, truly contemporary.
Absolutely.
It's a fun challenge.
In the current time. Yeah, I would imagine that it's like a pull and push of figuring that out. Right.
And some readers don't want anybody to even mention Plan B.
Right.
And it's a
that's
belief. It's a belief. It's a moral stance.
Yes.
So I'm dealing with that too.
How far can you go?
How far can I go?
Yeah.
Exactly. Absolutely. And I guess I go a little farther. My books are probably a little sexier than your average special edition. The great thing about special is you've got a big range.
Okay.
You can write a completely sweet story with no hot, sexy times at all, or you can get pretty sensual.
Okay.
And I'm more on the get pretty sensual.
Well, for most of us, doesn't that make it fun, though?
Exactly. So.
Okay. Very interesting. Now, speaking of your year ahead, 2017 is going to be just as big as 2016. You've got 3 more books coming out, 2 in the Bravo series and 1 in the Montana Mavericks, I think. So
it's
far, 4. Oh, my goodness.
Well, actually, I have 3 that are lined out, so that's probably, But then there'll be the Christmas one that I'm writing a proposal for now. So there will be 3 Bravos, and the Montana Maverick we already talked about.
Absolutely.
So it'll be Jodie Bravo's story in May, and then the Montana Maverick, that'll launch the new series, which is called The Great Roundup, the new Montana Maverick series, and Great Family Roundup. And the reality show is called The Great Roundup.
Okay.
So, and that'll be a 6-book series starting with mine, and all with really good special edition authors going through to December.
Okay.
And then in, October will be Garrett Bravo's Runaway Bride, or Garrett Bravo and the Runaway Bride. So he's out hiding out from his mother, who's trying to make him up in the woods, and here comes this runaway bride. So that's that one. And then the Christmas one, which will be Nell Bravo's story. I think it's going to be, married in Vegas and waking up in the morning and going,
ooh.
uh-oh. And that will be fun. And I think it's going to be called married till Christmas. So it'll
Okay.
be, the thing with Christmas
like
is
it.
I almost always have to have that ticking clock.
Right.
Because I want it to cover just a little before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Christmas. So I'm having fun
Absolutely.
thinking of that story now.
Oh, that's good. And make sure you check out Lifetime's Unreal because it might give you some ideas.
I will. Definitely. I can't wait. I'm going to go.
It's
look
2
it up on
seasons
my
in at
phone.
this point, so there should be somewhere, Netflix or something. I'm sure we'll have it.
Yeah, I think I can get it, so I will.
Excellent. So what about any kind of book signings or anything where some fans can come out and meet you and
I
talk
don't have
to
anything scheduled right now, but I'm on Facebook and Twitter, and it's always on my website whenever I'm going to be somewhere. So I may go to the RWA conference in Orlando this summer, and they have a huge book signing there.
Absolutely.
It's a big
that'll
one,
be
so
that'll be a good option.
And probably, I live in Portland, Oregon, so probably a couple of local signings at bookstores. It'll be fun.
Excellent. Well, Christine, thank you so much for joining us. This has been so much fun, and of course, perfect timing because of Bravo for Christmas. You can grab that. And thank you so much. This has just been a joy to talk to you.
Terrific to talk to you.
Absolutely.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, happy holidays, and thank you everyone for joining us. Have a good night.
Thank you.